You are listening this dictation on Sham Stenography YouTube channel. Start. The Armed Forces Special Powers and AFSPA, which provides extraordinary powers of force to soldiers deployed in disturbed areas, has long been a bone of contention between human rights activists and those favoring a strong state response to terror and insurgency. The Supreme Court has now rightly drawn a line under this raging dispute by ruling that indefinite deployment of armed forces in disturbed areas under AFSPA mocks at our democratic process and symbolizes a failure of the state. In a landmark judgment, a two-member apex court bench of Justice Madan B. Lokur and Justice Uday U. Lalit has raised serious questions on the deployment of security forces in Manipur under AFSPA since 1958. Their 85-page judgment goes to the heart of the matter, reminding us that the purpose behind deployment of armed forces was to ensure normalcy would be restored within a reasonable period, and that normalcy not being restored cannot be a fig leaf for prolonged, permanent or indefinite deployment of the armed forces. The use of military force may be essential to maintain law and order in emergencies, but this cannot be made into a permanent state of affairs. AFSPA was enacted in 1958 and has remained in force since then in Nagaland and Manipur, except Imphal from 1990 in Assam and Kashmir, and from 1991 in three districts of Arunachal Pradesh. No catastrophe happened when the Tripura government lifted AFSPA in 2015. The apex court is also correct in ordering a probe into 1,528 cases of alleged fake encounters in Manipur in the last 20 years, as it argued each such case of killing in disturbed areas should be inquired into. We need to tread with caution, though, on the Supreme Court's rejection of the center's submission that a person carrying weapons in violation of prohibitory orders in a disturbed area is perfecto an enemy, as defined in Section 310 of the Army Act. The court is right that killing an enemy is not the only available solution, but equally we cannot bind the hands of our soldiers so that they become ineffective, or worse, sitting ducks in conflict situations. The Supreme Court in the Naga Pupils Movement case had upheld the Army's operational guidelines for such operations with very clear does and don'ts, and these should remain valid. America is convulsing with violence and protests following the killings of black men Alton, Sterling, and Philando Castle by white police officers in excessive shows of force. The city where President John F. Kennedy was shot dead acquired notoriety again as a black sniper killed five Dallas policemen. Race is America's Achilles heel and the election of a black president may have deepened rather than bridged its racial divide, but superimposed on that are America's absurd gun laws which permit virtually unrestricted gun ownership. The Dallas shooting, like the Orlando mass shooting, which killed 49 and injured 53 last month, was carried out with a military grade rifle that can be bought off the shelf in a context where guns are freely available to citizens. Police to become militarized and trigger happy. America's racial divide is uniquely flammable and healing. It is a long-term project, but gun control is something that can be initiated relatively easily through legislation, leaving America less vulnerable to murders and massacres, whether motivated by race, terrorism, or simply someone gone round the wind. By not doing so, the word's sole superpower appears to be shooting itself in the foot, sometimes literally so. Fewer shooting incidents would take the edge of the racial confrontation that's shaping up on America's streets as well. Neither black citizens nor policemen need be so fearful, and that would go some way towards healing the racial divide. Instead, another can of worms appears to have been opened by the Dallas police. They killed the sniper with a robot bomb. What happens when such remotely triggered robot bombs get into the hands of those intent on causing destruction and mayhem? Could they replace assault rifles as the next weapon of choice? During cabinet reshuffles, nobody suffers. Instead, everybody runs to sit at the high table. The cabinet is of custom made size, so many remain on the shelf. PM Modi's recent cabinet reshuffle has shown that he is not ever playing the game of thrones. Ministers have seen rigged even though many are not dancing a gig. Smriti Irani has journeyed from textbooks to textiles and will no longer be accused of inhuman resource underdevelopment. No more anti-national rhetoric from her. She is being asked to spin a new yarn since many are calling her move a demotion. She will just have to live with the whole 9 yards. As a former investment banker, Jansena should have none when his number was up and his stock was down. Stop. For more dictations, don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel.